Now, the long-awaited movie Jock is finally out and by all accounts is really burning up the local box office. But is that where the money is really made, or do the cash registers continue to ring after the hype all dies down? This week we're going to take a close look at merchandising and the potential as far as movies are concerned. We've got two guests with us. Andy Rice, who is managing the marketing process for the movie, along with Darren Leishman, who's Group Executive Creative Director from the ad agency Penguin International. One of their clients has aligned their brand to the movie. To both of you, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Andy, to you first. Is merchandising becoming increasingly critical to a movie's success?
Yes, I think it is, Jeremy. I think what's happening is that producers are understanding that a movie in the form of being projected onto a screen is only one way in which you can engage with the product and engage with the characters. And increasingly people are looking for ways to take that creative property and expand it into areas that do not involve being in what they call a four-wall or a cinema. So that means character licensing, developing merchandise, and just looking for ways to extend the property into other spaces.
Can you attach any movie to any merchandising? You've got to be fairly selective here.
I think that people are getting more creative. If you look, for example, at the next James Bond movie, I think that they have kind of amortized almost half of their costs with product placement. So that's one obvious way, is to put your brand literally into the movie. But increasingly, and particularly for animation, which of course Jock is, there are real opportunities to take the characters and license their use with other brands. So you have a marriage of two brands where the one says the values of the Jock brand are appropriate for mine, I'd like to be associated with them.
Well, talking of James Bond, Darren, let's talk about this Suzuki tie-up. How does that work with the two?
When we first saw the story of Jock come out, we looked at the values of it. It's obviously an iconic story in South Africa. We looked at the values that Jock projects, went to go have a chat to Andy, and we really felt that the values that exist with Jock are the values that exist with the Suzuki brand.
So what are the values?
Spirit. Suzuki products are full of spirit. People absolutely love them. And Jock is really a dog that's full of spirit. He fights above his weight. He's not shy to back away from, or he never backs away from any of the giants that attack him. He takes down leopards, he takes down baboons. And Suzuki is very much a brand that does that. We felt it was an excellent synergy between a local South African brand and a global automotive brand.
So you've got the deal done. How do you leverage or work the tie-up there?
Well, we've utilised it in our above-the-line strategy, so all our media at the moment is running proudly associated with Jock. We've used the characters from the movie in that, so we've produced a TV commercial, we've produced outdoor, and we're using it as merchandising within the stores. Obviously, digital as well is a very important aspect for us.
Andy, how much license do you give a brand like Suzuki? Can they do what they want with the property, or do you set certain parameters?
No, you have to set certain parameters, obviously. And I think Suzuki would want that as well, because there's no point in having this dissonance between the two brands. So the first thing that happens is that you only really open negotiations with brands that seem to have a common space. And Suzuki, as we saw it, is the Jock of the 4x4 category. So there was a very clear match at the outset. But yes, we do insist that all creative material, all expression of the Jock brand as used by Suzuki is just passed by us for clearance. But 9 times out of 10, there is a meeting of the minds already, and the work is...
I was going to say, Darren, this is not censored. I mean, you've got as much creative latitude as you want with something like this.
Well, I don't think there's much creative latitude. I mean, I think we need to respect the brand. We need to respect the Jock brand. We need to respect the Suzuki brand, and we need to find an alignment. Obviously, we want it to work for both parties, and for it to be successful for both parties. We benefit if the movie is successful, and they benefit if our campaign is successful.
Can you give the brand that you're associating Jock with any sort of guarantee? Do you have to do that?
No, you can't guarantee numbers, and who knows what will happen. Happily, the movie's got off to a very good start, and the figures are looking great. But I think, as with all media that fall outside the traditional measurable media, there's a certain amount of judgment that comes into play, a certain amount of risk-taking, and you do what you can to minimise those risks, but it's impossible to give guarantees.
Is this an expensive business, a tie-up like this with Suzuki? I'm sure you're going to spill all the numbers for me.
Yeah, I'd give you all the numbers, of course, Jeremy, but...
cost us billions.
Yeah.
No, I think there is already a track record for character licensing in this market. I think marketers understand what they've had to pay traditionally for typically American properties, so for the Spider-Mans and the Ben 10s. You know, there's an established going rate. Often it's simply a royalty on sales. In this particular instance, it didn't make sense to do it as a royalty of vehicles sold. It made more sense to do it as a one-off license fee, so a sum was paid, and for that Suzuki, through Penguin, have the right to use the brand in any way they see fit that we're happy with.
Just very quickly, and a final question to you. It's not just about cars. I'm just looking through the list here. There's apparel, there are books, there's pet food, lucky packets, blankets, the list goes on and on.
We've struck about 15 deals.
There's lots of opportunity with a thing like this.
It's proved more versatile than we could have possibly hoped. When we started on this journey, we didn't know. We thought we might get half a dozen deals, and to have 14 or 15, each of which is exclusive. So it's not that we've done 4 different dog foods. There's one chosen there, there's one car brand, etc. So we're in 15 different categories, which we're very excited about.
Good stuff. Thank you both. Appreciate your time. Andy Rice, who is looking after marketing for Jock, along with the Darren Leishman, Group Executive Creative Director at Penguin International. Now, you can view the Suzuki ad on our Facebook page on this address. Let us know what you think of the tie-up with the movie as well. Does it work? Is it going to make you more disposed to the brand? Coming up, a special report on marketing and education institutions.